Hi children, welcome back to chemistry class. In this class, we will discuss about water, a universal solvent, types of solutions and water pollution. Now, we will discuss about water as a universal solvent. Water has the ability to dissolve most of the solid, liquid, and gaseous substances in itself. Therefore, it is often termed as universal solvent. Let us understand how water acts as a solvent. Take three beakers A, B, C of the same capacity. Fill half of each beaker with water. Now add same quantity of solid sodium chloride, copper sulfate and sodium carbonate to the beakers A, B, C respectively. Stir each of them properly. You will observe that solids dissolve in water to give a uniform mixture called solution. The solids are called solutes and water act as a solvent. Hence, a solute is a substance that dissolves in a medium which can be water or any other substance. Solute is smaller in quantity in a solution, whereas a solvent is a medium in which a solute dissolves. It is in large quantity in a solution. Water is the most common solvent. The other solvents are alcohol, carbon tetrachloride, etc. A mixture of solute and solvent is called as solution. A solution is a homogeneous uniform mixture formed by a solute and a solvent. Common examples of solutes in our daily life are sugar solution in water, salt solution in water. If you take an example, when some sugar is added to water, sugar disappears because it is soluble in water. Hence, water acting as a medium in which sugar dissolves is the solvent and the sugar is the solute. Together, they make a uniform mixture known as solution. If you expose water to air, it begins to dissolve the gases present in the air. Water is the most frequently used solvent. The substances which dissolve in water are said to be water soluble substances, whereas those substances which do not dissolve in water are said to be water insoluble substances. Now we will focus on capacity of water to dissolve substances. To find out whether there is any limit to the amount of a substance that can be dissolved in a given quantity of water, let us discuss about a small activity. Take some water in a glass, add a little sugar to it and stir it properly. You will observe that all the sugar is dissolved in water. Now add some more sugar to it. It is also dissolves. Go on adding sugar to the water into the glass till no more sugar dissolves in it. Now heat this solution. You will observe that sugar which was not dissolved earlier gets dissolved now. This shows that water has great capacity to dissolve substances on changing the conditions. Both stirring and heating help the quick dissolving of substances in water. Now we will discuss about types of solution. There are two types of solutions. One, saturated solution. Second one, unsaturated solution. A solution is said to be saturated when it cannot dissolve any more of the solute at a given temperature, whereas a solution that can dissolve more of the solute at a given temperature is said to be an unsaturated solution. However, water dissolves different amounts of different substances under the same conditions. Let us look one more activity to understand that water dissolves different substances in different amounts at same conditions. Take two glasses, fill half of each glass with water, mark the glasses as A and B. In glass A, add a teaspoon of sugar and stir. Keep on adding sugar to it, one spoon at a time, till no more sugar dissolves in it. Count the total number of teaspoons of sugar added. Now start adding 1 teaspoon of salt each time to the water kept in glass B till no more salt dissolves in it. Count the number of teaspoons of salt added. You will observe that the amount of sugar dissolved is more than the amount of salt in the same volume of water at room temperature. Therefore, the amount of solute that dissolves in a given quantity of solvent at a given temperature to form a saturated solution is called the solubility of the solute. Solubility usually increases with increase in temperature. Now we will focus on how would you recover the solute and solvent from a solution. When a solution is heated, the solvent evaporates, leaving the solute as a residue. Thus, the solute of a solution can be recovered by evaporation till dryness. If the vapors coming out of the solution are condensed, the solvent can be recovered. If you carry out evaporation and condensation at the same time, the process is called distillation. The liquid obtained by the condensation of vapors is called the distillate. Common salt is obtained from sea water through the process of evaporation. Now we will discuss about physical properties of water. Pure water is a transparent, colorless, odorless, and tasteless liquid. The freezing point of pure water is 0 degrees Celsius and its boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius. The density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube at 4 degrees Celsius. Now we will focus on need to conserve water. The amount of water needed for living organisms is not available in abundance. Therefore, there is a need to conserve water. Let us focus on the ways to conserve water. Wastage of water should be avoided. For example, taps should never be left open. More plantation should be done as plants help in bringing rain. Do not allow water drip from the defective taps. We should use drip irrigation or spray irrigation system for crops. Organizing mass awareness program through public and private agencies. Water cycle is to be maintained properly. Water pollution should be prevented and more dams should be built because it helps in agriculture and also prevents drought and floods. Lastly, harvesting of rainwater. Harvesting of rainwater should be done. In this process, rainwater is collected from roofs of buildings and then with the help of pipes carried to tanks for storage. The amount of water recommended by the United Nations for drinking, washing, cooking, and maintaining proper hygiene is a minimum of 50 liters per person per day. We must preserve water because water cannot be replenished and without water one cannot survive. 22nd March is celebrated as the World Water Day. The World Water Day is celebrated to attract public attention towards the importance of water conservation. At our individual levels, we should consciously save water and not waste it. Reduce, reuse, and recycle should be our motto for conserving the natural resources like water. Think of your daily routine. How can you save water? Use a bucket for taking it. Make sure water does not overflow from overhead tanks of your house. Close the tap when you are brushing your teeth. Wash fruits, vegetables in a bowl of water rather than under a running tap. Also, water used for the washing vegetables may be used to water the plants in the garden. Now, we will focus on very important concept, that is water pollution. Water is the most freely available resource on earth, yet most of it is not fit for drinking purposes. Water present in seas, rivers, ponds, and lakes comes from rains and melted snow of mountains. As it flows down the plains, it carries many dissolved and suspended impurities. The impurities in this water further increase with the addition of the waste products from our homes, agricultural land, industries, etc. These substances which pollute water are called as water pollutants. Undesirable changes in the properties of water that make it unfit for human consumption is known as water pollution. Now we will discuss about causes of water pollution. The first cause is domestic sewage. Water discharged from our homes contains dirt from excreta of the toilet, washing of clothes, utensils, and food and vegetable waste. It is called sewage. It is drained off into lakes, rivers, and seas. It contains microorganisms which spread jaundice, cholera, and typhoid, etc. The second cause is agricultural waste. Pesticides, insecticides, and fungicides used in the fields are washed away by rainwater into rivers. These chemicals harm the aquatic life and spoil the human food. The third factor is industrial waste. The waste chemicals from the industry are called effluents and are dissolved in water bodies, causing toxicity to aquatic plant and animal life. This makes water unfit for human consumption. Therefore, it is necessary to prevent water pollution. The following steps should be taken to prevent water pollution. They are: the polluted water from industries should be passed through effluent treatment plants so that all the harmful chemicals present are removed. Sources of underground water like wells should be covered properly to keep them clean. Washing and cleaning of utensils and clothes should not be done near sources of water. Bathing and cleaning of animals in or near the sources of water like rivers, lakes, and ponds should not be done. The use of pesticides, insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, and other chemicals should be reduced. Water containing sewage should be passed through sewage treatment plant first, and then this water could be used for irrigation. Trees and plants must be planted along the banks of the rivers. The use of synthetic detergents should be minimized. If possible, use biodegradable detergents. Now, we will focus on two different conditions. What happens if it rains heavily, or what happens if it does not rain for a long period. The first one cause floods. Collecting of huge amount of water due to heavy rain or overflowing of rivers is called flood. Heavy rainfall may cause many problems such as a rise in the level of water in dams, rivers, lakes, etc. Heavy rainfall also causes soil erosion. Floods cause extensive damage to crops, property, animal and human life. Crop fields, villages, and many low lying areas get submerged under flood water. Rains or floods also affect smaller animals living in the soil. The second condition is drought. Drought is the condition of usually dry weather within a geographical region which does not receive rain for a long duration continuously or receives very low rainfall. Now we'll see the effects of drought conditions. Crop may die, fodder may become scarce, living organisms of the soil die, animals may die, plants and trees will not survive, soil becomes dry, water level in rivers, lakes and dams etc. may fall, the groundwater level falls down, drought displaces people from a large number of villages and towns. This is the end of your lesson. Thank you.